Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, good evening. It's it's another it's another day, and I say I'm going to come on live because today's a day of historical proportion. So I say let me just come on live. I want to welcome you if you are on. This wasn't a planned show. It is called Impromptu Moments. Impromptu moment means to say that anything can go. Let me do this. Yo, Tubbs. All on, sir. I thought you were going to be in the UK. Or you're going to come and start to be, what should I say, a member of the new fraternity. If you know what I mean. Trying to find this link here. I said I've got to come on tonight because of the historical proportion in regards to the new Prime Minister of the UK. The revolving door factor, as I would say. You know? The revolving door factor. But I don't think it's going to be a revolving door anymore. I think somehow Rishi Sunak may have the magic touch. As I say, who's got the magic touch? I want to welcome anyone from coming on. Those on Facebook, those on YouTube, those on Instagram. Thank you for joining. This is just me just sitting here today watching the whole events unfolding before myself and watching Sky News, watching BBC, everybody giving their reactions. I always try to give my reactions as well. So I said, let me just come on alone tonight and do my reactions. But at the same time, if anyone want to come on tonight and to do their reactions as well to the reactions, you're free to come on. And what I'll do is to send you the link. But really and truly, I just want to go for a good 30 minutes and just talk about what I see from the show, from what happened today. There is a new Prime Minister, and his name is Rishi Sunak. We discussed it a bit yesterday. Yesterday, he became the leader of the Conservative Party. And that's the first thing. He became the leader of the Conservative Party. And let me see, just welcome. No matter the manner, it is good to see history unfolding. Thank you. That someone said, no matter the manner, it's history unfolding before our very eyes. I'm sure that everyone will agree that it is history unfolding before our very eyes. Whether the person was elected in a general election or not, the reality and the fact is history is unfolding before our very eyes. I'm just sharing this video as well. I'd like for you to share the video. Share and like as well. Share, like, don't dislike. That's what I say. Share, like, and don't dislike. But how did it start? It started like this. And I'll play this video here. This is the 1922 committee with Graham Brady making their announcement. And I'll play it.
Returning officer in the leadership election, I can confirm that we have received one valid nomination. Leader of the Conservative Party.
Okay, so I'll say it again. So that is
returning officer in the leadership election. I can confirm that we have received one nomination. And Rishi Sunak is therefore elected as leader of the Conservative Party.
So that is Graham Brady from the 1922 committee announcing that the rule that they had set down, which was 100 persons had to nominate one of the candidates, And there was Penny Mordaunt, there was Boris Johnson, and there was also Rishi Sunak. It is very interesting, I find, with Rishi Sunak. And as a motivator and do my walk and talk in the mornings, I'm always looking at different ways how to find different stories, you know, finding different stories. And the story that I found in regards to Rishi Sunak is this, and I'm sure that people can relate to this in some respect. Someone said, Wafia, I feel. That's a Jamaican saying, Wafia, I feel. Or, Wafia, I feel. If I can make it that way. Somebody maybe can say it a bit better. The few weeks ago when Liz Truss became the prime minister, when there was the hustings and the various election between herself, different other persons, and it was whittled down to between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. And Rishi Sunak lost. He had apparently more of the conservative MPs who supported him, but the members, when it went to the members, Liz Truss won. Many people are saying that the writing was on the wall because the UK isn't and will not be ready, and now is not the time for a conservative leader who is Asian or black, or even to be the prime minister. That was one of the key points. So many people believe that while they saw that Rishi Sunak deemed and was seen to be the best person in the way he articulate himself, in the way how he had answers, how he, when he was questioned, he was able to actually deliver. Unlike Liz, that wasn't happening properly. She kept saying the one liner, I'm goat, I'm goat, I'm goat. People say, what does that mean? You need to break it down. So that wasn't happening. So he lost. Can you imagine? There you are, going for something. Your vision, you believe it so much in your heart, and that is what you want to do. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. That is what you want to do. And you lost. So what do you do when you lose on something like that? Something like a job you're going for. Waboom, you lost. You give up. Now, some persons may say, I'll keep waiting and I believe it is mine. But the average person, I believe, actually give up and say, okay, that's not me. And lo and behold, with Rishi Sunak, all of a sudden, nothing was coming out of Rishi Sunak's mouth during the course of the time when things were going bad for Liz Truss, with Kwarteng, with the whole, mini budget and all those sort of things. Not a peep. Well, not a peep that I've heard from Rishi Sunak all this time. He was just keeping quiet. Then all of a sudden, Liz Truss resigned and said she had to step down. The writing is on the wall. Have no confidence. People had no confidence in her. MPs have no confidence in her. The party had no confidence in her. The government, the country had no confidence in her. So she had to step down. And lo and behold, there it was, right in Rishi Sunak's lap, the leadership contest happening again. Boris Johnson was coming back. Yep. And I have a video here when Boris Johnson, they said, Boris Johnson is on his way back. There. So there, for persons to see the video, you got to be on Facebook or YouTube. So there we have Boris Johnson on his way back to say that, hey, I'm going to deliver the UK out of the crisis which they're having. Then he was supposed to be getting all these different votes. He said he had 102. People are saying it was 55. Whatever the truth is, we don't know. And only Mr. Brady knows that. Actually, Mr. Brady may not know that because actually it wasn't delivered. He pulled back. He pulled out. Penny Mordaunt also on a day, just before 2, she pulled out. So that is where you had Rishi Sunak, who became the leader of the Conservative Party. That was yesterday. So the point and the story is, and the message is, ladies and gentlemen, what is fear? A fear. If you believe in something and you believe in it with all your heart, and even though the signs on the wall are actually saying no, 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 you've got to still believe what is yours. And you got to go for it. You got to persevere. And somehow you'll say, I'm sure God said this to me, or I'm sure my gut instincts. But the writing is on the wall, and people are saying no, no, no. But guess what? If it is fear, a fear. Yeah, somebody said that to me yesterday. Actually, they're online. What is fear? A fear. So for Rishi Sunak, all of a sudden, guess what? He didn't have to even go to a hustings. Never had to actually try to get the party or the membership to vote for him. It fell right into his lap, right? Whereby the 1922 committee came out and they said this.
Returning
Again.
officer in the leadership election, I can confirm that we have received one valid nomination. And Rishi Sunak is therefore elected as leader of the Conservative Party.
So there I played it again. Now he then became the leader of the Conservative Party. Right? So that's the first step. That's the first step. He became the leader of the Conservative. I don't know why this thing is not standing. Yeah. He became leader of the Conservative Party. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also on YouTube and Facebook as well. Jump on over there. Jump on over Facebook and YouTube. Jump over on Facebook and YouTube. You know, that's where you can see everything. That's where you can come in as well. Instagram is there, but Instagram is good still because I'm not having any guests tonight. I'm just myself, just having an impromptu moment. And then the next step of it, ladies and gentlemen, is that he had to now give this speech. And I listened to the speech, and I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play the speech now. That is a speech that Rishi Sunak made. That was yesterday when he became the leader of the Conservative Party. And here I go now.
I'd like to pay tribute to Liz Truss for her dedicated public service to the country. She has led with dignity and grace through a time of great change and under exceptionally difficult circumstances, both at home and abroad. I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to. The United Kingdom is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity, and I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together, because that is the only way we will overcome the challenges we face and build a better, more prosperous future for our children and our grandchildren. I pledge that I will serve you with integrity and humility, and I will work day in, day out to deliver for the British people.
So that's Rishi Sunak giving his victory speech. That was yesterday, or the withdrawal speech, meaning to say that nobody actually stood against him. He became the prime minister, the leader of the Conservative Party. So today now, big news now, he became the prime minister. And one of the things that I want to talk about is his cabinet and the look of his cabinet, which he has done, because he wants to make it to ensure that there is a government of unity. I mean to say that he wants to actually take into consideration all those persons that he didn't want to do the Liz Truss did by actually actually stood against her, and she kicked them out of the cabinet and sacked them. Okay, I remember Grant Shapps was actually, he said, hey, the point that she said was, you didn't vote for me, I didn't support you, and I think she sacked him from the transport ministry, or said he was going to lose his job. As that song said, you're about to lose your job. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Peace, balance. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just doing an impromptu moment here, just doing a quick review of the latest what's happening in the UK. I think it is an exciting time in the United Kingdom, believe it or not. I believe it's an exciting time for people. I believe it's an exciting time for mothers and fathers who have children in this country. There was a gentleman who I think he's a lord or whatever like that, and he's Asian. And he said when he came to this country years ago, and many people may attest to that, or their parents can say that to them, when they came to this country many years ago, they were, no blacks, no Irish, no whatever. You got to go to the back of the bus and all those sort of things, and you have to go to the back of the line. It wasn't pretty, but they still stood and they stood their ground and they persevered in the process. Now, what you have now is a prime minister whose mother is from Tanzania and whose father, I believe, is from Kenya, and he's of Asian background. Someone says Pakistan, but it doesn't matter. He's of Asian background. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine who is Asian, Indian, she said, Silburn, we're all India. And the Brits came and they split the country in two, one Pakistan, one India. So that's another story there, not a story, that's another reality. And funny, I was listening to Trevor Noah earlier today, and he said it's very interesting how, you know, some people are deeming that Brexit was going to get rid of the brown faces and all the different foreigners. And lo and behold, hey, guess what? You've got a foreigner who is actually running the country. Or not say a foreigner, because Rishi doesn't see himself as a foreigner. He sees himself as a Brit. He sees himself as someone who was born in this country as well. So, but he went to the king today, and he made a brilliant speech. That I say a brilliant speech that I think that Barack Obama, when he made that speech, that was in massive fanfare. Many people are saying that you'll never have, remember this? People used to say, you'll never have an American black president. That's what they were saying. Barack Obama went ahead, got the nomination. Okay, got the nomination, but he'll never win. And guess what? The reality now is that it is normal and it looks okay for a black man in the White House. Okay, many people will say, well, he was there, but he never represented black people. But the reality is that he wasn't there for black people. He was there for the United States of America. And he very clearly said it. I'm not here for black America or white America or blue America or whatever America. I'm here for United States of America. Likewise, that's what Rishi Sunak is here for. Rishi Sunak is here not because of his Asian, but because of his capability, his qualities, his leadership acumen, and the fact that he wants, and as he said, to make the UK to deal with this problem that we have. I've always said that it is so important that after the COVID period and after all the different lockdown which was happening, that the different parties, the different strands of government, because in opposition, you're part of the government structure as well as a member of parliament, because that's how laws are passed. People support and people don't support. And if the Labour Party, the Conservative Party, the Lib Dem Party, the SNP, the DUP, and everybody can come around the table, this is what I always say, if everyone can come around the table and actually say, let us try to sort out this craziness which is happening. Let us see how we can actually find a way how we are not relying on Russia. Find a way how you don't have to rely on China. I know we're in a global world and we all have to work together. But if some are actually making it difficult, well, how can we do that? That's what I'm always saying. And I believe that stability at this time is so important and so crucial. What do you say? Stability. Many people are saying we want another election. Now, not just because I'm a conservative member, and actually, for the record, I did vote for Rishi Sunak in the first instance. And I said to myself, I don't understand, because I'm always right. I'm always right, except when I'm wrong. That's strange, isn't it? I'm always right, ladies and gentlemen. Always right. Always right, except when I'm wrong. So when I voted for Rishi Sunak, and I said, when he didn't win, I said, well, I don't know. Let me just support Liz Truss as the party leader, and lo and behold, there it goes. That's why I said, you may believe something deep down in your heart, and the signs and the result is saying that's not what is happening. Hang on in there, stay in there, don't move, stand the ground, stand firm, as I would say. That's a PNP sign, of course, in Jamaica, but stand your ground. That's a very important thing. Stand your ground. Thank you for those who are on Instagram. Thank you for those who are on TikTok. Yes, I opened TikTok as well. I got all these different platforms on for Facebook. And let me have your comment as well. But I'm going to play now the video of Rishi Sunak giving his speech after he went to the king and the king invited him to form the government. And then I'll come back into the bit about where many people are questioning this particular point. Who elected him? Let's dig into that a bit. Who elected Rishi Sunak? I didn't vote for him. How can he become the prime minister? And I've been hearing there's so many racist things going on. But guess what, guys? The reality is that Johnny Barnes says, until you get racism out of society, you won't get racism out of football. You won't get racism out of parliament. You won't get racism out of school. You got to deal with it in school, football. You got to deal with it by engaging and getting into positions of power where you can make some fundamental change. Let's listen to Rishi Sunak's speech.
I've just been to Buckingham Palace and accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government in his name. It is only right to explain why I am standing here as your new Prime Minister. Right now, our country is facing a profound economic crisis. The aftermath of COVID still lingers. Putin's war in Ukraine has destabilized energy markets and supply chains the world over. I want to pay tribute to my predecessor, Liz Truss. She was not wrong to want to improve growth in this country. It is a noble aim. And I admired her restlessness to create change. But some mistakes were made. Not born of ill will or bad intentions. Quite the opposite, in fact. But mistakes nonetheless. And I have been elected as leader of my party and your Prime Minister, in part, to fix them. And that work begins immediately. I will place economic stability and confidence at the heart of this government's agenda. This will mean difficult decisions to come. But you saw me during COVID doing everything I could to protect people and businesses with schemes like furlough. There are always limits, more so now than ever. But I promise you this, I will bring that same compassion to the challenges we face today. The government I lead will not leave the next generation, your children and grandchildren, with a debt to settle that we were too weak to pay ourselves. I will unite our country, not with words, but with action. I will work day in and day out to deliver for you. This government will have integrity, professionalism, and accountability at every level. Trust is earned, and I will earn yours. I will always be grateful to Boris Johnson for his incredible achievements as Prime Minister, and I treasure his warmth and generosity of spirit. And I know that the mandate of COVID-19 is not the sole property of any one individual. It is a mandate that belongs to and unites all of us. And the heart of that mandate is our manifesto. I will deliver on its promise. A stronger NHS, better schools, safer streets, control of our borders, protecting our environment, supporting our armed forces, levelling up and building an economy that embraces the opportunities of Brexit, where businesses invest, innovate, and create jobs. I understand how difficult this moment is. After the billions of pounds it cost us to combat COVID, after all the dislocation that caused, in the midst of a terrible war that must be seen successfully to its conclusions, I fully appreciate how hard things are. And I understand too that I have work to do to restore trust after all that has happened. All I can say is that I am not daunted. I know the high office I have accepted, and I hope to live up to its demands. But when the opportunity to serve comes along, you cannot question the moment, only your willingness. So I stand here before you, ready to lead our country into the future, to put your needs above politics, to reach out and build a government that represents the very best traditions of my party. Together, we can achieve incredible things. We will create a future worthy of the sacrifices so many have made, and fill tomorrow and every day thereafter with hope. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the speech today, which he gave. Very powerful speech. Couple observations that people observed today, and I was watching it in the background while I was working today, because I'm very politically savvy and try to keep abreast of politics. I think it is very important that we all keep abreast of politics. I think it's very important that everyone start to encourage their children to get into politics. I think everyone should recognize that the names are changing in the heart of government. Names like Kwasi, names like Kemi, names like James Cleverly, names like Sunak. Who knows? May have a name like Sidiel up there as well. So therefore, what we've got to do is to recognize, without a shadow of a doubt, that we have to put ourselves in position to change the things that we want to see change. That is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, that is. I need to block these things. What is these things coming up on my page here? Block user on YouTube. Yeah. So that is so crucial, very, very crucial. The Prime Minister today made some very fundamental point, and one of the fundamental point he said that business we start today. Interestingly, the whole media and the whole press was out there today. And you remember Barack Obama when he became president. His wife was there, Mahalia and Sasha was there, and his wife, and they say the black family going into the White House. Rishi Sunak only came by himself because he didn't want to feed into that sort of fanfare where the press will start to somehow have a field day to say the first family and all those sort of things, the first Asian family. He didn't want all of that because it was business as usual. Business today, we've got to sort out the country. And as someone said, unite the Conservative Party. Many people will say that uniting the Conservative Party is putting the party first. But you need the party. Even the Labour Party, you need the party to be that engine for you to make things work and for things to run. Just like in America, you need the Republican and you need the Democrats. You need the Congress and you need the upper and the lower house for them to come together to make laws. So you need the party to get the party excited and get the party together. And therefore, uniting the party is one thing. And what he has done, he has made a fundamental shift from Liz Truss style, Liz Truss way of how she's doing it, and created somehow. And I'm gonna put up in a short moment the is cabinet members. But if persons want to say anything or want to drop any comments, let me know what you have to say. Let me know what you think about Rishi Sunak being the next the prime minister. I'm just blocking some things here on my side here. Remove, block, remove. Yeah. What do you think of Rishi Sunak being the prime minister? Do you believe that he'll be a good prime minister? Do you believe that it's just another farce? And do you believe at the same time what's the right word again? Should there be a general election? Many people are asking for a general election. Do you think that should be? Is there time for a general election? Let me know what you think. But I'm going to try to find the cabinet members here and just show you what he did with his cabinet, unlike what Liz Truss did. Let me just remove this, take that away, take that away. Take it away, away, away. Rishi Sunak cabinet. Here it is. Boom. Okay. You can see for the cabinet there, in his cabinet, and I'm going to play that there, put that there. You got his cabinet, Rishi Sunak being the prime minister, and if you put him up more, the British Rishi Sunak is the UK first British Asian prime minister. Won the leadership contest, which followed the resignation of Liz Truss. Chancellor during the coronavirus pandemic, and in July 2022, he was one of the first to quit Boris' cabinet, paving the way for a stream of resignations. Many people call it stabbing in the back, Etto Bruto. Dominic Raab has been appointed as Justice Secretary. He was there on the Boris cabinet. Jeremy Hunt has remained as the Chancellor, which is a good thing. The controversial one is Suella Braverman. Many people say Suella Braverman is worse than Priti Patel. And Suella Braverman actually recently, she quit because she used her private email and sent some confidential documents. And it was a sort of ethics issue. So she resigned just over a week ago, and she's back in government as a home secretary. I got a friend of mine who was actually for years, she's trying to sort out her papers. And she said, oh, that lady Priti Patel is bad, but Suella Braverman is worse. But anyway, Suella Braverman has returned as Home Secretary less than a week after she resigned from the role over a data breach, leaving with a brutal attack on Liz Truss' government direction on migration. In the job, she'll be tasked with things like the plan to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda. James Cleverly, good mate of mine, good friend of mine, has been reappointed Foreign Secretary. I'm glad because James is a very sturdy hand, is a chap who's a very lovely guy, ladies and gentlemen, great guy. Trust me, if you get to know him, he is what you see. That's all that you see. A very lovely guy. Many people might not agree with policies, but at the same time, personalities. He's got a big personality. So I'm glad that he remains there in the position. And I mark you, let you know, ladies and gentlemen, James Cleverly supported Boris Johnson. And James Cleverly threw his weight behind Boris Johnson just recently when Boris Johnson was flying back to the UK to say he's going to deliver the UK from the whole aspect of this crisis. Rishi Sunak retained him, kept him there. Ben Wallace has been a great guy. Many people are saying that he should have actually stood as leader one day, but no. Ben Wallace is the defense guy, reappointed as defense secretary, a post he has held since July 2019. Great guy, and many people say he's a sound person. Simon Hart has been appointed as chief whip. I think if you look what I'm doing as well, you can see the Truss cabinet. This is a Truss cabinet there. That's a Truss cabinet. Grand Shops. These are persons who are in Truss cabinet. Look at that. All these persons were in Truss cabinet, and guess what? And all of them are in Rishi Sunak's cabinet, bar, what's his name? Jacob Rees-Mogg. Nadeem Zahid, he's there. Oliver Dowden, Home Secretary for a couple of weeks. He's now also Penny Mordaunt, who was one of the persons who were running against Rishi Sunak, and she also was running against in the first race for leadership of the Conservative Party and to be Prime Minister. If you remember, she was a very key person that was being seen when Prince Charles, now King Charles, was being appointed, and is sort of not coronation, but after the Queen died, she was very integral in setting that up. Mel Stride, Work and Pension Secretary. Key appointment, of course, remained the same. Kemi Badenoch. She did she support? I don't know if she had supported Boris, but I think she came out and support Rishi. She retains her position as the International Trade Secretary. So there we are. Kemi Badenoch remained, and so therefore you got these persons are still in position. Mark Harper, Michelle Donnellan. So there are more other what should I say, cabinet posts, or not cabinet posts, but other junior offices that is going to be appointed over the next few days or so. So, ladies and gentlemen, so what I'm saying, what we're seeing is that Rishi Sunak is seeking to unite the party, and by uniting the party, trying to unite the country. And that is something which is important at this time. The pound against the US dollar is gone up to 1.15. I think it is back to the position pre the mini budget. The mini budget, they say, was a devastating thing. Yeah. So there's a level of stability, and with the firm hands of Jeremy Hunt. I never liked Jeremy Hunt before too much. When I say like, no, I don't mean like, but as a minister, and I question when he was appointed to be the chancellor. But he has done a very fantastic job, and I'm glad that Rishi Sunak has retained him. And the good thing with the economic background of Rishi Sunak and his style, I believe that he's going to unify. And I wouldn't be surprised, not just because I am a conservative, member. I wouldn't be surprised if a conservative still win the next election, and if they lose election by losing by a lower margin than what it is seen now, there's never going to be an election now. I can guarantee you that no government is going to call an election right now when the polls are like that. Trust me, they have 2 more years, and I think that's what's going to happen. It's very important at this time for there to be a level head and everybody just calm down. As I was saying, I won't say calm down there. It may sound a bit Texas, but to calm down and try to see how we can navigate the whole process and heralding this historical moment whereby a prime minister of Asian ancestry is in the number 10 Downing Street. And that means what we should say to our children, especially in Black History Month, even though, I know people sometimes say he's black, but really and truly he's Asian. I never like to say he's an ethnic minority. I like to say he's non-Caucasian. Non-Caucasian, because when people say ethnic minority, BME, I don't like to classify myself as a minority. And I don't know who like to say they're a minority. I'm not a minority. Yeah, I'm a majority. I'm on equal level with everyone at the same time. I understand the sentiments, but I'm not going to claim it, because psychologically it has this sort of deficit factor which is in you. Like when the people say the sky is the limit, I change it by saying the sky is the start. And that's why I say don't go with the flow, or you'll be in someone else's stream. Create your own rivers. That's the most powerful thing. So kudos to the chancellor, the new prime minister, Rishi Sunak. Let me have your comments. Let me have your views. What do you think about him? Do you think he's going to deliver? Do you think that there need to be a general election? And let's deal with this general election bit. For anyone who think that there need to be a general election and that he's unelected, he was elected as a member of parliament. That's the first thing. And that was the last time we had the election on the Boris Johnson, with the Conservative have a 80 or so majority. And the best way to sort of explain this is like this. What is this? Charge the battery. Let me see, make sure I'm getting charged, or it's going to shut down. One, two, three. Yeah. If I don't charge the battery, I'm going to get shut down. Battery was going down there. Um, yes. So where was my train of thoughts? Yes, he was elected. Yeah. If God forbid that a prime minister halfway in his tenure pass away, what would happen? What would normally happen is that someone will replace him within the party structure, because the prime minister is normally the leader of the party. And therefore, in this case, what we had was Boris Johnson being the leader. The mandate was based on the manifesto, which was at the last election. And that manifesto still stands. And therefore, everyone is falling in line behind that manifesto. Now, if that manifesto is not working anymore, or people deviate from that manifesto, then there's a case for a general election. And that is why when Boris was coming back, many people were sort of happy in a certain way, because he's the one that got the mandate when he was the leader of the Conservative Party at the last election. However, we do not have a presidential system like America, whereby the prime minister name is on the ballot. The prime minister name is only on the ballot if you live in his constituents, right? Unlike in America, or President Biden name was on the ballot. Trump name was on the ballot, so people voted directly for President Trump, directly for President Biden, directly for President Obama. In the UK, only the persons in the constituents of Boris Johnson or Rishi Sunak can vote for them directly. Otherwise, who you are voting for is your members of parliament. And the members of parliament of all different houses, 630 or so, some are going to be conservative, some are going to be Labour, some are going to be DUP, some are going to be SNP, and all those sort of things, and they all converge into the House. Now, the one that has a majority, they will have a leader, and then they have the right now to go to the king and say, I have the majority of members of parliament, and therefore your duty is to appoint me to be the prime minister. And that is what is happening now. So therefore, even though they are changing leaders based on the democratic process within the party structure, and the Labour Party had it as well when they moved from Gordon Brown, Tony Blair to Gordon Brown as well, even though that was a sort of plan, that deal that they had sitting in a bar. Many people thinking that they were going to be something else with Boris Johnson. And when Rishi Sunak and him, they said they had a meeting that they're going to be a deal whereby Boris go back in and become prime minister, and then Rishi Sunak after a while take over, but that didn't materialize. So therefore, the whole thing as it stands now is that the mandate is still there for the Conservative Party. The manifesto is still there for the Conservative Party, and therefore they have the right to lead the country up to 2024. I believe May the 6th or May the 5th, when that is the designated time for the next election. So what is very important now is for people to somehow rally behind the prime minister. In Jamaica, they would say rally around the flag, rally around the red, gold, black, and green, or so. Rally around the prime minister at this time. Support the prime minister, and let's get cracking. And time now that the whole nation really believe that it's getting on to Christmas. A general election, trust me, a general election at this time would be a fundamental distraction, and it's something that unless Rishi Sunak goes crazy and go berserk or whatever like that, So that's me for tonight. A quick impromptu moment, and I want to wish you a good night, and thank you for joining me. Those on Instagram, those on Facebook, let me know if it was helpful. Let me get your views. Remember to like and share. And I think I'll be doing more of this, as it's much easier sometimes and giving more views as to things. But one thing I'll say to mothers and fathers in this country, persons who are non-Caucasian, non-white. As I said before, I don't say ethnic minority or BME. I don't say those words, because we're not a minority. But I understand the rationale of why they say that. But just because they put labels, we don't have to claim the labels, right? Just because they give you a badge, you don't have to walk with the badge, right? But your children in politics, encourage them the whole rational of House of Commons, Westminster system, to become councillors, become mayors, because that is where change happens, through policies. And that's very important. So, and I say this to young people, if your parents are saying to you, don't get involved into these things, your parents are going to pass away. And you're going to be picking up the leftovers, or the things that, the battles that our parents, the battle that I should be fighting for my children, that's a battle we are fighting now. So Rishi Sunak is now in a key position as a pioneer, breaking through the mold. He's going to be taking some hits, because I see a lot of people say things to me like, have you seen this paper? I said, what is in the paper? I said, I don't read any paper, every papers. Oh, the racism and all those things I'm saying. I said, then why are you reading those things? Why are you going there? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not seeing any sort of racism and blah, blah, blah. When I say racism, racism exists, but I haven't seen any sort of articles or discussions on it, because guess what? I'm too focused. Focus our minds, strengthen our mind, bulletproof for ourselves, bulletproof for our lives, which is very important. Not every battle or not every door that opens you have to run to. You don't have to run to every door. You know that. Sometimes you have to just walk past the door. Even if the door opens and say, come in there, come in, come in. You can't walk past that door. Walk past it, man. Okay? So, kudos. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good night. Have a super night. And may God bless you again. I'll finish off with Mr. Rishi Sunak.
I've just been to Buckingham Palace and accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government in his name. It is only right to explain why I am standing here as your new Prime Minister. Right now, our country is facing a profound economic crisis. The aftermath of COVID still lingers. Putin's war in Ukraine has destabilized energy markets and supply chains the world over. I want to pay tribute to my predecessor, Liz Truss. She was not wrong to want to improve growth in this country. It is a noble aim. And I admired her restlessness